Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Thursday, which means it's time for a magic stuff. And today I'm going to be talking to you about time management. And you can tell that I take this stuff seriously when I have a list here in front of me. This is something that people have been talking to me about for a long time. I get so many people asking the question on this channel. I never find time to be able to do everything in the day. How do you find time to do everything? And you know what? I'm not an expert in time management, but I've worked out a system that works for me. And I think that's really important. I think that you do need to manage your time effectively, because if you don't, it's going to get away with you. So who is this video useful for? This video is useful for about 2 or 3 different types of people. First of all, it's useful for the people that are watching this that are either semi-professional magicians, they've started doing gigs, or professional magicians that just don't find they have enough time in the day. Because it's really important that when you're self-employed, and when you're self-employed, you're running a business. Don't think of being a self-employed as not having a business. You are. You have a business, and it's really important that when you run a business, that it runs effectively. And the way to do that is through effective time management. So it's going to be really useful for those people. It's also going to be really useful for people that really beat themselves up because they never have time to practice. And I get this on the channel all the time. Oh, I haven't got time to practice. Oh, I haven't practiced in 2 weeks. I'm losing interest in magic because every time I go to pick a pack of cards up, something else happens and I don't find time to do it. It's going to be really useful for those type of people as well. And it's going to be useful for people that just don't have the time, really, to be perfectly honest. And you know, those people that are just like, oh, I never have time to do anything. To give you a little bit of a frame of reference, and a lot of people know this on the channel already, but I run 3.5, kind of 4 companies in a variety of different things. I have staff in head office. We deal with a lot of bookings, a lot of inquiries. I have a lot of meetings. On top of that, I have to, I'm producing all of the stuff for Magic TV, filming all the stuff. A lot of the stuff is edited by me. I'm doing a lot of the interviews. I'm also teaching Ryland magic. I have to have time for my kids, time for my family. I'm producing and creating magic tricks as well. And all of this stuff takes time. And yet I have time to do all of that and time to myself as well. I'm currently rewatching 24. I started rewatching it about 6 months ago, and I'm on the final season. So, I find time for myself an awful lot as well. So I've got a few different points here. I'm going to break them down step by step, stuff that you can do and you can implement to have more time in the day. One thing I will say is this video is going to be only good if you actually do it. There's going to be people that are going to be watching this video, and then in 6 months' time, they're desperate. They're desperate, by the way. They're desperate to find more time to do stuff. And then 6 months' time, they're still going to be in that same situation, and they won't have actioned anything on this video. On this video, they won't have actioned any of these points. It's only good if you actually implement the stuff that I'm talking about. Now, you don't have to do everything immediately. Take baby steps. Start with one thing, then a second thing, then a third thing, then a fourth thing, and so on and so forth. Pick the thing that you think is most appropriate for you, and start with that, and then move forward. But if you don't do anything, then you're not going to get anywhere. If that kind of makes sense. But without further ado, I'm going to start a list of actionable stuff that you can do to free up more time and give you more time and get more done. Okay, so the first point is for people really that are gigging, so whether they are semi-professionals or professionals, whatever it may be. The first piece of advice I can give you is to try and eliminate distractions as much as possible. One of the reasons when I first kind of went self-employed, when I first started doing magic professionally, one of the first problems I had is Sarah would call me because she was working as a teacher in school. She was an assistant head at the time. And she would call me because her attitude was very simple. I'm at home. I'm working at home. So I'm at the house, so I can do all of the stuff around the house. So she would call me all the time and say, oh, can you do this? Can you get this from the shops? Can you organise this? Can you wash this? Can you do that? And so I'd spend most of my time doing chores around the house and actually end up getting nothing done when it came to running the business because I would get too distracted. And that can happen an awful lot. That doesn't happen if you remove yourself from your house or your place of where you're living, because then all the distractions go away. I'll give you another example. A lot of people, when they run their own business and they work from home, what tends to happen is they'll wake up late because they haven't got a boss. So they'll wake up at whenever it may be. Sometimes it can be 9, 10 o'clock. I've got friends that run their own business and they don't get up till 10, 10:30. And then what they'll do is they'll probably go down and get some breakfast and make themselves a cup of coffee. And then when they've made the coffee, they'll go and sit down in front of the TV to drink their coffee and eat their breakfast before they actually start work. And they'll put something on, and then what will happen is they'll watch that whole thing because why not? They've started watching it, they may as well finish watching it, and then they'll start work. And then what happens is something else comes on, so they end up watching that. And then by the time they then start work, it's almost lunchtime. So then they have to go and get lunch, and then after lunch, they need to do something out in the garden. They've just thought of something, or maybe they need to go to the shop and get something, and then they come back and it's like, right, okay, I'm going to start now, but I'm just going to get another cup of coffee. And you get the point. It goes on and on and on. And a lot of the time, motivational speakers will call this being a busy fool. And we can kid ourselves into being a busy fool, where we're running around feeling like that we're working hard, but in reality, we're actually getting nothing done. It's the big thing that can affect a lot of small business owners and a lot of people that work from home that are self-employed. Now, if you are a super successful magician and you have got all the money and all the work in the world and you don't need any extra gigs, then don't listen to any of this advice, because get up at midday, chill out, don't do anything, and then just go and do the odd gig or two. But if you want more gigs, if you want more work, or you want better gigs, or whatever it may be, or you want to be in a situation where you feel like you're further along than you actually are, well, then you need to start doing this stuff. And the first thing is avoid distractions, eliminate distractions. Eliminate distractions with people phoning you and asking you to do stuff around the house because they perceive you not being at work but being at home. But eliminate distractions that can happen within the house as well. And the way to do that, and the way that I did that, is to go and get yours because you're not going to be able to afford to do this straight away. So what I would advise you to do as soon as you can is go and get yourself a little office away from your house. And I don't even mean one at the bottom of the garden. It's better having a little office at the bottom of the garden compared to working in the house, but it's still not brilliant because you're near the house, so you can very easily go back. But get yourself a little office. The first office I got was in like a managed big massive block of offices, and it was a tiny little broom cupboard type thing. There was enough room for one desk and a chair, and that's it. But it was somewhere where I could go to run the business, and I could be stationed there. I had my own phone there, and there were no distractions. I literally sat in that room, I got going, and I got so much done. Now, if you can't afford to get, and those offices don't cost very much at all, and obviously they're a business expense, but if you can't afford to get yourself an office, the next best thing is to go and sit in a coffee shop. Especially if you know you've got a busy day and you've got a lot to do. Go and sit in a coffee shop that does free refills all day and just abuse the free refills. Sit there, steal their Wi-Fi, open up your laptop and just start working. That's the other way that you can do it. But just eliminate the distractions. Move away from the house, because then you will ultimately get more done. And if you get more done, because you can do, there can be somebody who's sitting at home and they'll take an entire working day. They'll take 8 hours to do what really should have only taken 2 hours. But if you eliminate all of that and you just go into an area where there's literally no distractions, you'll get so much more done, and it'll equate to actually having more free time. So the second piece of advice I can give you is to switch off notifications. That's really important. On your phone, switch off your notifications for social media and email and that sort of thing. Switch them off. Switch them off, switch them off. I've spoken to magicians and they go, I've got to have all the notifications on because I get a lot of work from Facebook. But you can, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but you can check this sort of stuff at a set time. You can check this sort of stuff at a set time, or you can set up autoresponders or whatever it may be. But if you have your notifications on, it does the same thing as being in the house in point one. So, what will happen is you'll get a notification on your Facebook and you'll go and open it up and someone's posted this thing, and then you'll read the comments, and off the back of that, you'll see somebody comment who you don't know. And so you'll click on them, and then you'll start looking through their timeline because you're nosy. And then they'll have posted a link to a video. So you'll click on that video and that'll take you to YouTube. And then when you're in YouTube, you'll watch that video and it comes up with another recommended video. So you'll watch that video. And before you know it, you've spent like a couple of hours on social media when you didn't didn't really need to, and it affects what you, and a lot of the thing about time management is just it's about maximizing the time that you're working, as opposed to being a busy fool. So if you're, going to work for 2 or 3 hours, make the most of those 2 or 3 hours. Don't get one thing done in 2 or 3 hours. And it's about eliminating the distractions. So switch the notifications off. If you are a Facebook person that uses Facebook a lot for business, great. You can log on Facebook as and when you need to, just to do that. But then the rest of the time you log off Facebook. Or you set up an autoresponder. The thing that I should, and that works with emails as well, notifications with emails. I know that emails are very, very important, and I get that, and that's cool. But set times. Every half an hour, you're going to check your emails. Because if you check, I see people that check their emails every 5 seconds. I'm checking my emails. I'm checking my emails. I'm checking my emails. And then what happens is they end up just getting nothing done because they're constantly going back to the phone to check their emails. Set times. Every half an hour, you're going to check your emails. And then every hour or two, you're going to check your social media or whatever it may be. I've got a friend who insists that he's not on social media very much. And I went and looked at his phone and he didn't realize that on an iPhone, you can actually look at what apps you're using and what's the most popular app. And it turned out he was using Facebook like 7 hours a day or something. So the way to eliminate that is to just make sure that you're not getting distracted by your phone. And the way to not get distracted by your phone is by eliminating all those notifications. If it's not trying to tell you something, then you can focus on what's really important. Okay, point number 3, and this works for absolutely everybody and everything. Point number 3 is to make yourself a to-do list. Now, when I talk about to-do lists, people go, oh, yeah, I've got a to-do list on my phone and I tick it off as and when. That's not how I use a to-do list. The way I advise you to use a to-do list is to set it the night before for what you want to do the next day. And the reason is, one of the big things that causes people to take too much time over stuff is not knowing what task to do first when you first get into your working space in the morning. And this could be wherever you're working from. Let's say that you're a full-time magician and you're planning on being in the office at 9 o'clock the next day. So what happens is you come into the office at 9 o'clock, you open up your laptop maybe, you might switch on your phone, whatever it may be, and then you're kind of there and you're like, right, what shall I do? Shall I do this or shall I do this? Oh, let me think, what's the most important thing to do? And you're just kind of sitting there and you're just like, The way to deal with it is just when you've finished your work the night before, whatever time that is, make a list of everything that you need to do and try and put it in priority order, what you need to do for the next day. So, okay, I need to contact this entertainment agency. I need to contract this booking. I need to do this. 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 Put it in priority order, all of the stuff that you need to do, and then leave it on your table where you're going to be working the next day. So when you sit down to start work, it's sitting there in your face and you go, right, okay, number 1, I've got to contract this booking. Right, okay, boom, let's do that. And you immediately hit the ground running. Because you've hit the ground running, again, and hopefully you're beginning to see a pattern here, it's about eliminating distractions. So what you're doing here is you're making more effective use of time. And that's really important. It is really, really important. So what I would do is at the end of every night, put yourself together a to-do list in priority order, put it down on the table where you're going to be working, and then the next day when you come in, you've got that and you can hit the ground running. Okay, so step 4, this is one of the most important things that you're ever going to do. And it's create a priority matrix of all of the tasks that you need to do. And you can do one for stuff that you're doing personally. You can do one for stuff that you're doing within your business. You can combine them together, but put yourself together a priority matrix. So what is a priority matrix? Well, very, very simply, all I want you to do is get a piece of paper, okay? And I want you to draw kind of something that I've got down here, okay? So it's kind of like a graph. I want you to draw an L shape on that piece of paper. And underneath the horizontal line at the bottom, I want you to write importance. And along the left-hand line, I want you to write urgency. And then I want you to put a big cross in the middle. So you're going to end up with 4 squares, one at the top left, one at the top right, one at the bottom left, one at the bottom right. And each one of these is going to be filled with tasks. Now, let me explain. So this is the urgency scale here, and this is the importance scale. So down at the bottom left, you've got the stuff, all of the tasks that you need to do that are not important and not urgent. So all of the stuff down there in the bottom left, it's all, you put all of the tasks that you've got to do. They're not important and they're not urgent, okay? Then at the top left, you've got all the stuff that's unimportant, sorry. You've got the stuff that's unimportant, but it's urgent. So it's stuff that you really need to do straight away. But when it comes to actually your business, it's not really that important. It's not really that important at all, but it's urgent that you do it, okay? Then at the top right, you've got the stuff that's urgent and important, okay? So you've got all the stuff that's urgent and important. And at the bottom right, you've got the stuff that's important, but it's not urgent. So once you've put, and what you do is you put all of the tasks in there, and you want to be brutally honest with yourself. When you're putting this priority matrix together, be brutally honest with yourself. And then this is what you do. So the stuff at the bottom left that's not important and not urgent, get rid of it. If it's not important and it's not urgent, why the hell are you even considering doing it? Get rid of it. You want to have more time. You want to have more effective use of time. Get rid of it. The problem is people hoard tasks. My son Ryland, he hoards stuff. His bedroom is a mess. He's got stuff in there everywhere. You can't walk through his bedroom sometimes because he's got so much stuff in there. And I'm like, dude, why don't you just bin some of this stuff? He's like, no, of course, I don't know when it's going to be useful. And he's got like old playing cards that are like folded into 6. I'm like, there's no time ever that is going to become useful. Why don't you just go through it with a bin bag? And he hoards stuff, right? And it just makes his bedroom a mess. Well, if you hoard tasks that aren't important, it's going to make your life a mess. It's just as simple as that, because you're going to end up using a period of time on those tasks that you don't need to do them. You don't need to do them. So get rid of them. People ask me, how do I do so much in a day? It's because anything that's not important, I get rid of. I don't do it. I only do the stuff that's important. And I go through this priority matrix on a very regular basis, trying to figure out what tasks are important and what tasks aren't important. Excuse me. The stuff at the top left that's important, unimportant, but urgent, you want to bin that off really as well. Because the key word here is it's unimportant. And it's even worse because it's urgent. So you kind of stop doing the stuff that's important to do this stuff because it needs to be done quickly. And you end up spending all of your time doing that and none of the time doing the stuff that's actually going to make a difference. Bin it off. Get rid of it. Okay? Then you've got stuff that's urgent and important. You do that. You do that first. That's the stuff that you do. If it's urgent and it's important, that's what you do. That's how you prioritize stuff. That's the stuff that you do first. And then the stuff that's not urgent, but it's important, and that could be stuff like, like working on the SEO of a website, for example. It's not important. It is important, sorry. It's very important, but it's not urgent. Not doing that SEO won't make a blind bit of difference within the next day or two. It's going to make a huge difference in a year's time, but it won't make a difference in a short term. So the stuff that's important but not urgent, you do that after you've done the urgent stuff. Or you outsource it. And we'll talk about outsourcing in a minute, but you outsource and you get somebody else to do it so that you can focus on, because this is the problem. I see a lot of people that run a business, they try to do everything themselves. They try to do everything themselves. I'm going to do this, 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 I'm going to do this. And the problem is, when you're a business owner, you strive to be an entrepreneur. Because that's how you grow your business. Well, assume you want to be an entrepreneur. You want to make more money. You want to be more successful. That's being an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs, you have to understand you can either work on your business or you can work in your business. And if you're spending all of the time working in your business, delivering doing the monkey stuff that other people could do, then you're spending no time working on your business and developing strategies which are going to either increase your fees, increase your money, get you more gigs, whatever it may be that your goal is. So outsourcing is really important, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But in terms of this priority matrix, really seriously go through all of your tasks and figure out which tasks you can bin so you focus on just the important ones. Okay, so step number 5 is outsource. I think it's really, really important to outsource. And what I mean by outsource is get somebody else to do tasks for you. And this could be taking on a member of staff, for sure. This could be taking on, and this is what I would recommend all business owners to do. All self-employed magicians should do this immediately. Get yourself a virtual PA. Now you're probably wondering, what's a virtual PA? Well, it's a PA that's virtual. They don't actually work for you. You pay for them for the time that they work on your business. And normally only for the time that they work on your business. Now, the way that you can effectively use a virtual PA, to give you an example, is you can have it so that if your phone rings and you don't answer it, it goes through to a virtual PA that will answer the phone on your behalf. And you can give them as much freedom as you want to. You can just tell them to take a message, tell them that you're in a meeting, or tell them that you're in a gig and that you're going to pass a message on and they'll get you to give you a call. You can get them to just do that, and then they can text you and email you the person's name and phone number and the message that they left. Or you can give them access to your calendar and your fees, and you can teach them how to pitch a client, and they can do all the sales calls for you. Depending on the virtual PA, you can get them doing anything. But that's important, because have you ever been in this situation where your phone's rung and you haven't answered it, and you've called back later on and they go, oh yeah, I was looking for a magician, but I found someone now, and you want to kick yourself, don't you? Because it's like, oh, I could have got that gig if I only I answered the phone. Oh, they rang me first. Well, it's probably because they rang you didn't answer. A lot of people don't feel comfortable leaving a voicemail, and it went to somebody else, and that person pitched them and they booked it in. But if your phone went through to a virtual PA that was like, hi, this is Magic Marks. This is Mark's Magical Entertainment. Can I help you? Oh yeah, I'm looking for a magician. Oh right, okay. Yep, well, Mark's absolutely the person you're looking for. What date are you looking for? Yep, I can see he's available that day. That's absolutely fine. He's actually in a meeting right now. Can I get him to give you a call by the end of play today? Would that be okay? Fantastic, no problem. Can I take your number? I'll pass the message on now. I'll get him to call you ASAP. That person is now going to wait for your call. And I know this from personal experience, because before I had an office team and I had a staff, I used to have a virtual PA, and it also makes you feel bigger as a company. It feels like you're a bigger deal than you actually are. You're running a business by yourself. Now you've got people answering the phone for you, right? So I would highly advise you to get a virtual PA. Outsource any tasks that you can't do. You can get virtual PAs that work on your social media. So you don't have to spend all day posting on social media or answering people's comments, because they can do it for you. Find a virtual PA that will do this stuff for you, and then you won't have to, and it'll free up more time, and it'll give you more time to do stuff. Okay, so step number 6 is to make sure you schedule practice time and you actually stick to it. Now, the big thing that I hear people saying on this channel is, I don't have time to practice. I never have time to practice. How can I get more time to practice? Well, a lot of the time, you don't have time to practice because you think to yourself, I'm going to do some practicing, and there's always something else that comes up. But if you schedule practice time, and Jason Ladany is a big advocate of this. He's a big advocate of actually having scheduled practice time. Have scheduled practice time. Time in your calendar when everybody knows that you're going to be practicing that day. And obviously things can be changed around. So if you've got like a wedding that you need to go to, or a gig that you got to go to, don't bring that person and go, well, actually, no, I'm not available because I've got to practice that day, unfortunately. So it's flexible, but make sure that it's scheduled in. And if you can't do a particular session, move it to a time that you can. Because if you have scheduled practice time, for sure what's going to happen is you're going to be able to spend more time. You're actually going to practice, and you'll end up enjoying it as well, as opposed to, and you beat yourself up over this stuff. If you end up not practicing, you end up going, oh, I wanted to practice today and I haven't. So I'm so frustrated with myself. Oh, I wanted to practice today and I haven't. But if you schedule it in and you actually do it, you feel better about yourself as well. You end up becoming a better magician. You're practicing more. You don't lose the love of magic because you're constantly learning new things and getting excited and enjoying it. So schedule in practice sessions and actually make sure that you adhere to those schedules. The next piece of advice I'd give you, and I think this is step number 7, is and it's got it here: love what you do. Love what you do. And it seems very, very simple, but if you hate something, then what's going to happen is you're going to end up either you're going to end up spending a lot longer over it than you would have done because you hate doing it. And again, I'll use Ryland as an example. Ryland will go and clean his bedroom. His mom will send him to clean his bedroom. And he will literally spend all day Saturday trying to clean his bedroom. And he could have got it done in an hour. But he hates it so much. He goes up there, he procrastinates, he picks up a deck of cards, he starts messing around with cards, he'll pick up a Rubik's Cube and start messing around with Rubik's Cubes, and he ends up not actually doing anything and spending all day over a task that could have taken an hour, and he could have spent the rest of the time doing something that he wanted to do, as opposed to being in his bedroom all day tidying, which he hates. He absolutely hates tidying. And it's the same with anything. Love what you do. If you hate doing it, you're going to spend a lot longer over it. So love what you do. The tasks that you do. If you're a business owner, if you're a self-employed professional magician, and you have certain tasks that you have to do within your business, learn to love them. And if you don't love them, either bin them or get somebody else to do it for you. Because if there's tasks in your business that you hate doing, then you need to, you're going to end up, it's going to end up, your business is going to suffer if you try and do it and you hate it. When I was a one-man band, I hated accounting. I hated bookkeeping. I hated anything like that. And so the first thing I did is I got an accountant because I hated it and I knew an accountant would do it better than me. And it freed up my time, and it ended up meaning that I didn't have to do that stuff that I hated doing. I hate anything to do with that sort of thing and figures and so on and so forth. But it can be the same with anything. It can be the same with practice. If you don't enjoy practicing with a hot rod, don't put a hot rod routine into your act. If you don't enjoy practicing the linking rings, don't do the linking rings. Find something that you actually do enjoy practicing. It's the same with practicing as it is with running a business. You need to love what you do. Okay, so point number 8, I have it here, which is set goals. What you want to do is you want to set goals. It is really, really important. And I've talked about this on the channel before. I'm going to mention it again now. It's really important to set goals, because if you set goals, what's going to happen is you've got something to work towards. I work better when I have a goal. When I have something that I want to achieve, I work better. So we have weekly sales targets, we have monthly sales targets, we have yearly sales targets, we have monthly marketing targets and weekly marketing targets. And, the stuff with Magic TV. I have targets when it comes to how many views and how many subscribers and so on and so forth. And it's really important to have a goal, because if you haven't got a goal, and it's the same with practicing, by the way. I want to get this move down. I'm going to give myself a week to get this move down. If you don't give yourself that time and you just go, I'm going to practice this, you'll end up never doing it. But if you it's like me, when I wanted to learn a one-handed shuffle, I set the goal that I was going to learn the one-handed shuffle. I put all of my focus and attention into it, and eventually I learned it. And I was really glad that I did. Well, it's the same thing with business as it is with practicing. You have to set goals, because if you don't set a goal as a business owner, and you don't have a goal as to what you want to achieve out of your business, then it's kind of like, imagine you're at sea and you're on a boat and you were the pilot of the boat and you didn't know where you were going to go. You just end up going round and round in circles because you haven't got a destination, right? You have a destination, you know where you've got to go to get to that destination. And you want to set your goals. You want them to be aspirational. So you want to set that. You don't want them to be easy to hit. It's that old expression, isn't it? Shoot for the moon, and you reach. Even if you don't get it, you'll reach the stars. A perfect analogy is, imagine if I'm standing on my garden roof, and I've got a nice big tree in my back garden, and there's 2 branches. There's a really high upper branch, and then there's another branch that's high up, but not as high up as that one, that's lower down. Right? If I want to jump from my garage roof and I want to grab that tree, if I aim for the lower branch and I don't get it, I'm going to fall on my ass because I've got nothing else to grab hold of, right? But if I aim for the upper branch and I put all of my effort aiming for the upper branch, I might hit it, I might not. But even if I don't, I'm going to be higher. I'm going to definitely grab that lower branch because I've aimed higher. I'm going to be further up than I would have done if I'd only aimed for the lower branch. And the point I'm trying to make here is you want to set goals, make them aspirational, set the goals and go out and do it. If you want to set yourself a goal of, again, going back to practice, I want to learn a one-handed shuffle. Okay, I'm going to learn a one-handed shuffle in a week. Okay, great. Now you put all time and effort into practicing that one-handed shuffle. Right, I've got that. What's my next goal? Or in a business, I want to book 100 gigs in this month. Okay, great. Okay, well, what am I going to do to book in 100 gigs? Well, I'm going to need to do this marketing. Right, is the marketing being done? Right, okay, no. So by next week, I want to put this marketing in place in order to help me hit my sales target. And it's not rocket science. It's fairly simple, but you just have to do it. And again, it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, where if you don't do it, it ain't going to get done, right? And the final point number 9, is don't beat yourself up. One of the big mistakes that I see people making is they get frustrated with themselves if they're not achieving what they want to achieve. And it can work in terms of business or in terms of practice. Like you want to learn this routine and you just can't get it down, and you see other people do this routine and you haven't been able to do it, and you get so frustrated over it because it's something you want to do, and you end up getting frustrated, and that stops you from actually practicing because you just start feeling bad about yourself. I've met people that haven't practiced in 2 weeks because they just feel really down on their ability because they haven't been able to do something that they set their target to do. It's the same with business. If you aim to get this big contract from this big entertainment agency and you haven't got it, don't beat yourself up. You just got to work a little bit harder. You can get there, but don't beat yourself up. You're probably further along than you think. You just got to believe in yourself. If you can't believe in yourself, then there's no point in either being a magician or being in business. You've got to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you either. So there you go, guys. That is 9 actionable points that you can use that is going to reduce the amount of it. What these are going to do is it's going to laser focus you. And I think that's the key thing with time management. You need to make sure that when you're working hard. Don't be a busy fool. Focus on working hard. Focus on the time that you've actually allocated to this, putting all of your heart and soul into it and not getting distracted. That's the way to make sure that you've got more time. How am I able to do everything that I do? I just make sure that I've compartmentalized my time. I know how much time I want to spend on each thing. I've scheduled everything. I joke that I'm not very organized, and in many aspects of my life, I'm not very organized. But when it comes to time management and knowing what I need to do and knowing what needs to be done and schedules and when it needs to be done by, I am really on top of this stuff. I'm very, very organized when it comes to that. So make sure that you get really organized and make sure that you're not a busy fool. This is a really kind of deep topic, guys. So let me know in the comments down below what you think. I did this video because so many people wanted a video on time management. Would you like to see more videos like this about other subjects? I would be happy to do them for you. I know a lot of people asked for a kind of a day in a life pseudo documentary of me and a day in my life and what I basically do in a day. That's something that I will be doing. It's probably going to involve having a camera crew follow me around for the whole day, which is going to be really weird. But, a lot of people have said they want to see that, so I'm going to make that happen. If you want to see other videos about other subjects or you want to delve even deeper into time management, let me know. And like I say, more importantly, is this the sort of video you want to see more of? I need to know in the comments down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. And I'm going to be back again tomorrow on Saturday. 4 videos on a Saturday. We're going to have an honest trailer at 12 o'clock, a shorts at 2 o'clock, 6 o'clock is a Magic Live, and at 9 o'clock we have a interview. We have a Talk Magic interview. So I'll see you then. Thanks very much for watching. And my name's Craig from Magic.